Alrighty, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching the daily series of Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly ask for you guys' thoughts because you guys are the MMA community today. However, today we are going to be breaking down Henry Cejudo, the ultimate breakdown of UFC 298. If you guys do not know already, we have already broken down Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria and Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa, the main and co-main events. This is the last breakdown we're gonna do on this channel before maybe putting out my predictions. But if you guys are not already aware of what we do here, we're gonna go into two fights from each fighter based on the opponent that they're facing, and I'm going to tell you why I chose these fights to watch. We're going to break down and study their film, go into their keys to victory to win, and give you an in-depth fight analysis on the fight itself. So guys, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in. I promise I'm going to try and make this as quick, short, and concise as I possibly can, but you guys know I like to give you the in-depth fight analysis, and for that we need to go into a bit of detail. So guys, if you're still watching and you like fight breakdowns and fight reactions, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up because it does help me and supports the content. But also share this with your friends who you think might be choosing wrong in this case scenario. And of course, you're more than welcome to subscribe and join the family if you want to watch more videos like this one. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the breakdown of Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo at UFC 298. Alright guys, so first order of business, I think it's very important to break down the body type of each fighter first, starting off with Merab Dvalishvili, 16-4. He won his last fight against Peter Yan. He's 5'6", which is 2 inches taller than Henry Cejudo. He has a 4-inch reach advantage at 68 inches for his reach, and he has a 1-inch reach advantage for his legs. So he is a longer fighter, he is a taller fighter. However, they kind of bring the same style, right? On Henry Cejudo's side, he's 16-3, so they have similar MMA experience. Of course, he has the gold medal in wrestling. He's 5'4", 2 inches shorter, 4-inch reach disadvantage, and of course, he has shorter legs as well. I think that's something that's maybe even more important to point out for these guys, is that while they both like to wrestle and they both like to take people down, neither of them are known for their submissions. Neither of them are really known for holding people down. I mean, if you watch some of Henry Cejudo's best takedowns and things like that, say against Demetrius Johnson, he could never hold him down, or if he did, it was only holding him down and there was no damage, right? Maybe against Marlon Moraes, he didn't really hold him down, he didn't really stop him from moving, he was more just adding up on the strikes, and Marlon Moraes was already fatigued and things like that, and he never really had him in serious submission threat. With Merab, it's the same thing, man. They hold you down, they try and get you tired, they bring more of that wrestler's mindset and that wrestler's pace and try and just add up on strikes. However, I do feel like Henry Cejudo is the more dangerous fighter with his hands, both in the striking aspect. Now, Merab is dangerous in striking, he has power, he's fast, but there's a couple of holes that he has that we're going to talk about, and of course Henry has his holes too, and we're going to talk about those as well. As far as the way I see this fight going, man, I see a lot of grappling, but I see nothing really being controlled. Honestly, I could see a very similar fight to like Armisar and Mateusz Gamrot, and you're gonna see what I mean when we get into breaking down these fights. So for each fighter, the fights I'm gonna break down for Henry Cejudo, and we're gonna go ahead and look at him first. We're gonna break down his fight with Aljamain, but also his fight with Marlon Moraes. Since they both have a win over Marlon Moraes, we're also going to break down Merab's fight with Marlon Moraes, but also his fight with Ricky Simón, because I thought that was a very good performance, but also showed some of the things that he doesn't do too well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the film study. So starting off with Henry's fight with Aljamain. Now I'm going to try and not take too long, so I'm going to go ahead and make my points in this fight. We're not going to watch the whole fight, but I want you to look at Henry Cejudo's posture, right? He's very upright. He's a shorter fighter usually, so he is going to carry that upright posture, but he almost adopted this karate-esque stance, and you can see that it's more bladed than it is him facing Aljamain. What I mean by bladed is it's more of a sideways stance. You can see this, and the problem with this is that he doesn't deal with leg kicks very well. Part of that is because he's trying to catch the leg kicks and take you down, But another part of that is just the stance that he has is not very good for defending against leg kicks. Now, he gets a good body lock takedown there. And of course, there's no doubt that Henry Cejudo has great wrestling. However, in this fight with Aljamain Sterling, he really wasn't able to control Aljo at all. Aljo was just better in the grappling department. Not so much the wrestling, but the grappling department for sure. But there's a couple of things I do want to talk about. So you see how he's just trying to hover over the legs, stay on top of him, maybe add some strikes, get some points. Henry Cejudo, he is very passionate about his ability to win and to compete, right? But you see Aljo's trying to elevate him, gets his space, goes turtle, and Henry, he isn't really sure what to do with Aljamain's weight, because Aljo really isn't doing anything. He's kind of just waiting on Henry to move. That way he can re-engage or just stand up. Aljo has 2-on-1 on the hands. Henry feels kind of uncomfortable. He's trying to stay on the neck, stay on that half Nelson, just kind of force him down, maybe weigh on him a little bit. Then he sees Aljo start trying to close that ground and maybe initiate some grappling on him, and he just backs out. One thing I will say about Henry though is look at all these straights. Now it's harder when he's going backwards, especially against a longer guy. But let's go back real quick. All of these are surprisingly accurate, even for having the long layoff that he did. Now, I thought that he probably would have won this fight had he not had that long layoff, had he been sharp, because a lot of the strikes that he threw just came barely short. So a good low kick into a 1-2. Aljo moves his head kind of weird, so it did miss. But that was on target. That jab was on target. Just out of range for that. Catches a kick, tries to counter off of it, and there's a lot of things that he is doing well. Going to the body, I think that's going to be key against Merab, to go to the body. Starts looking for this takedown, tries to get his hands locked, can't. However, Aljamain gets his hands locked, and this is where Aljamain had a lot of success, man. When he was able to lock his hands against Henry Cejudo, and him and Merab both do this, but when he was able to lock his hands, that he had so much more success getting the takedowns. If you can't lock your hands against Henry Cejudo and you're just trying to take his legs down, look how thick his legs are, man. They're too big, and they're too short to really control. It's like trying to take down Alexander Volkanovski. Anytime his hands are separated, look how difficult it is to take him down. So this is something that Merab's gonna have to look for. He's gonna have to look to actually connect his hands on Henry, because if he doesn't, I don't see a situation to where he could really take Henry down on a consistent basis. Let's go back a little bit. See, look, now Aljo gets his hands locked, and now he can start looking for these trips, start looking to weigh on him. These knees to the body are crucial. Aljamain did a really good job of taking down Henry and actually out grappling him. Oh, that's a tough knee. These do damage. These do damage here, and I feel like this is also another place where the fight's gonna be taking place, man, in these exchanges right here. They're both grapplers. Let's not forget that. So the things we talked about already is that Henry, the only way really you're going to be able to take him down on a consistent basis is by locking your hands. And we're going to see more of that as, let's go ahead and skip around. But as the fight goes on, we're going to see more of that. Kicking the legs, his stance leaves him open for kicking the legs. He's much better going forward than he is going backwards. So if Merab can push him back, that's going to be a big key for him being able to have some success. That was a good kick. And he has underrated kicks, you know. Henry has underrated kicks and underrated striking. I think his hands are actually really good. He mixes up the cross, the uppercuts, and the hooks for which one he's leading with very well. And he's very accurate with that backhand. And then one thing that we're going to watch in that Moraes fight, but that he's very good at, is, man, adjustments. He's very good at adjusting, and he's very good at, like I said, in this one, I felt like he had too much time off. He couldn't, you know, there were so many things he was fighting other than Aljamain Sterling, in my opinion. Not to make any excuses for why he lost, but like, even that head kick right there, like, that almost landed, right? That one wasn't set up as well. And those left hooks off the break, yeah, those are going to be important as well. Actually, I want to go back. Look how he tries to close the distance. You saw that? You saw how he faked the leg to try and get into the hands. That is the best version of Henry Cejudo, in my opinion. That is what Henry does whenever he is winning fights. If he can get going with the kicks, make you respect him, and then start closing the distance by faking the kicks into his hands, I think that's going to be a big key to success for him against Merab, right? That's good defense. I think one thing that Merab and Aljamain have in common too, which is why we're kind of watching this fight. They train together. They're gonna have a similar game plan, right? But it's that they also take shots sometimes just to avoid punishment, to avoid getting hit in the head. So they're not the best at just using traditional boxing head movement. As you can see, he just got hit right there. And you can see that Aljo kind of leans off very awkwardly. It's because they're kind of looking for takedowns as people are throwing strikes. You see, he throws a strike, looks for a takedown, and it looks sloppy, but it's because he's looking for a takedown. Mixed martial arts striking is just different than any other kind of striking, right? Now, that's pretty much all I wanted to break down from that fight. Again, like I said, I'm trying not to take too long, but we are gonna go ahead and break down his fight with Marlon Moraes. Look at how wide his stance is. This is what I meant by his karate stance and how it makes you available for the kicks. It's extremely hard to check these kicks in this stance, right? This is back when Henry Cejudo was going for his double champ status, right? He already knocked out TJ. He already beat Demetrius Johnson. This is in the heyday of Henry Cejudo. That was a good low kick. And you see how he can't really check it. You can't time a check, so instead he pulls back and looks to try and catch it. That way he could throw a right hand and look for a takedown afterwards, or maybe even a follow-up hook, which he did there. I think one of his best attacks is something that he's doing right here. Henry Cejudo, whenever, like I said in the Aljamain fight, right, if he can establish his kicks and then set up his hands with it, that'll be key. So like right here, he throws a high kick, forces you to block, and then right after, if Marlon didn't throw the leg kick, he would have been in some trouble trying to defend the hooks. Merab is open for a lot of left hooks, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to show you why he's open for those. But I think him using his kicks into his hands is an attack that he likes to do. We've seen him do, and something that's going to work well, so we can assume that he's going to try and do that against Merab. There's another low kick. He's trying to catch him. Man, you're better off just trying to check those, man. But he's a wrestler. He's trying to get him down. You never know what his game plan was going into it. That was a good low kick. Good defense. Man, another thing that low kicks do is that they interrupt a wrestler's timing, man. If they don't have their legs, or their leg is so badly damaged, it's hard for them to get any power on their shots, but it also interrupts their timing for their takedowns, just like we saw right there. The guy's leg kicked as he was trying to shoot. So in this round, he did have a lot of trouble with Marlon. Marlon started off strong, just as he always does. He was chopping the legs beautifully. Bang, another leg kick. Henry started switching stances, which I don't think is a bad idea, but Marlon was still just able to chop up his legs. He started going below the knee, at the shin actually. It only took a couple of those calf kicks to where you could see this welt on Henry's calf. It only took a couple. He doesn't even want to go back to that stance. Not really that comfortable fighting from southpaw, but he has to, because that other leg already started getting chewed up. Alright, now let's go ahead and get into the adjustments, because one thing, like I said, Henry did do well in this fight, was adjust. So first, let's look at some of the replays. See how he's going to the shin. That is such a disgusting kick. Like, ow, ow. Why are you doing that? It just hurt us both. So again, Henry's looking to cut him off with kicks before looking to strike. You can see how he lowered his stance after that kick. That's exactly what I mean. He's trying to use the kick to get into range or to cut your opponent off, and then he's sitting down on his punches, and his hands, man, his hands are fast and his hands are accurate, and you're gonna see that in this fight. This is the round where eventually he starts to adjust. He's getting picked up apart right now, still in these low kicks. Yeah, his entries from southpaw are very good. Not as good as you would like it if you're gonna stay in that stand. He just started getting fed up. He got kicked again. That was a good body kick from Henry. Oh, that was an accurate right hand. Oh, look at these boxing combinations. Oh, Jesus, hold on. Let's go back. We gotta go back on that just to see what I'm talking about when I mentioned this accuracy. So good body kick. There really wasn't any telegraph on that. Look at that. Boom, accurate, just right on the button. And then bang, that uppercut. Right hand again. Stop throwing that lead hand. He stopped leading with the lead hand and just started fighting him. He had to close that distance. He had to get into the pocket, and that's what he started doing. is the adjustment he made. And this is when I really became a fan of Henry. So the fact that he was able to adjust like this, everything's accurate, everything's touching, faking the kick into the hands, and he's not gonna give him that kicking range anymore. And one thing about Merab is that he likes the kicking range. Even though he's a wrestler, which is oddly enough, he likes to stay at the kicking range and then jump into the punching range and then start looking for his takedowns. He also uses a karate-esque movement to where he's very bouncy and darts in and out of range. Man, going to the body well, no telegraph on that right hand. Man, he's teeing off, and these knees, oh my god, these are vicious. This is the best Henry Cejudo we've ever seen. In my opinion, he's the one who changed Marlon Moraes' career. Look at this. You see that Marlon Moraes was the #1 bantamweight in the world. He was knocking out everybody, bro. People forget that he was knocking out absolutely everybody in his way. He knocked out Aljo too. But look, Henry just said, I'm gonna fight this dude. Good knees, and round 3. Right back on him. For a guy who likes the kicking range in Marlon Moraes and in Merab Dvalishvili, it's more fatiguing when you can enter into that boxing range and keep it in that boxing range. Even if you're just mixing in the clinch and a little bit of wrestling, but mainly just boxing, and you keep them going backwards like this and backwards and backwards, that shit is so tough to deal with. Looks for his wrestling exchange. When Marlon defends, he looks for a knee. You know Merab's gonna defend. He's gonna be looking to get those hips back. He can eat knees just as well. This is what I'm talking about, man. They talk about Merab's pace a lot, but I've never really seen Henry Cejudo get tired. Have you? They talk about Merab's pace, but I've never seen Henry get tired. I think it's more just that wrestler's mindset, you know? They're going to keep pushing the pace. They're going to push through that fatigue. It's more mental than it is physical. And then they choose their moments to rest, like right now. He's looking for his entry and back on him. And now I'm not going to give him any room. I'm going to stay in this range. Beautiful. Looking to grab the head and everything. Let's get past that. Man, both of these guys kind of just use takedowns to fatigue you, make you get back up, carry their weight. Look how he's just hanging on his head. And in my opinion, Henry has a better clinch than Merab as well. Now, I believe we know how this one ends, right? We're not just watching this as a fan. We're watching this to break it down. Again, look at the clinch knees. He learned from when he got finished by DJ, hanging on the head. Snap down is where he starts breaking Marlon. Now, this was a good submission attempt. I don't think it's that close to finishing. Marlon has decent jiu-jitsu, so I think it was kind of okay being here and trying to rest, which is a mistake. But oh my god, look at that. His legs are so damn short that he finds the areas for the knees. Just like tight areas he finds for the knees. Like right here, he could throw knees to. Right to that body, right where you see him breathe. Looks together. His legs. Marlon goes for an arm bar. But that's just a mistake. Oh my god, look at this. He's vicious. So you see the venom behind his shots, right? So again, like I said, we're not watching it as fans, we're watching it to break it down. But you see the venom behind his shots. You see the intensity and the intent at which he's throwing these shots with, right? Now, we're gonna go in to watching Merab's fight with Marlon Moraes. But before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and talk about our keys to victory for Henry Cejudo that we were talking about, that we discussed. I think it's imperative for Henry Cejudo to throw kicks. It doesn't matter what kind of kicks, but just to throw kicks early, because Merab is going to want to be in kicking range. He's not going to want to be in boxing range. So early, throw kicks, finish off with hands, right? So use your kicks to set up your hands. That's the key to victory, number 1. Number 2, don't allow Merab to lock his hands, because that's where it gets kind of questionable, and that's where Merab's going to be able to weigh on you, and that's when Merab, I think, is going to be able to have the advantage on Henry Cejudo. So don't let Merab connect his hands against you. That's a big key to victory. And number 3, go to the body of Merab. Merab has that gas tank, right? And he has this innate ability to wrestle. I think throwing things like knees up the middle are just perfect, just because he likes to duck and shoot takedowns in order to avoid strikes. Uppercuts, hooks are all good, but being able to go to the body with anything that you can is going to be very beneficial to Merab. Plus, if you're going to the body, say with an uppercut or something like that, like Henry likes to do, like we saw, then Merab a lot of times might just duck into those shots, right? So those are my keys to victory for Henry Cejudo in order for him to have the best opportunity to win this fight. But now, moving in to Merab Dvalishvili's fight with Marlon Moraes, here we go. Alright, so starting off, this is exactly what I mean. You see how he's bouncing, and look at how far he is from Marlon. Neither of them can strike right here, right? Which is good for him, because when he is looking to strike, he's looking to shoot right after, right? But you see him bouncing, and then watch how he enters the range. He likes to throw big kicks, big wide kicks, but another thing he likes to do is just dart into range. You see that? You saw those steps? This is the karate-esque that I was talking about, right? He's bouncing, and Merab actually has sharp hands, man. He has a very darty and precise 1-2 that he likes to throw. But the problem with this movement is that he gets caught in range. What I mean by that, so that's a good low kick. Good punches on air to try and find his entries for the takedowns. All the way out of range, you know that? You see this? The thing is when he gets into range, I feel like it's hard for him to get back out of range, because he does kind of dart into range or commits on his punches so much that it takes an extra amount of time for him to get out of range. And you'll see what I'm talking about after Marlon defends that takedown. Still bouncing. Bang. See how he gets into range? But Marlon went out of range, right? Merab isn't the one that backed out of range. Committing this much weight forward right here, it's so hard to get back out of range. He covered a lot of distance, got into range like he likes, and if Marlon would have stayed in there, he probably would have started looking for a shot. But look at how much he's putting behind these shots. And you see where his foot ended up. It started over here, ended up over here. You're not going to be able to just exit right after. So he does get caught in that short range. And that's dangerous. Going against a guy who likes to throw his shots with venom in Henry Cejudo, that is dangerous. Oh, got tagged there. That was an ill-advised uppercut that he threw. That's why he got tagged. One thing about him, though, he's not scared to throw at all. He's going to step into range. He's going to try and throw with you. Even if he gets caught or anything like that, he's willing. Steps into range. Look at this. See how much he's overcommitting? Now, this is going to be something imperative also for Henry to take advantage of. Stay in range. Why not? You want to be in boxing range. He has better hands. He has better boxing. Boom. And Merab often drops his hands in these exchanges, especially because he's looking for takedowns as well. Now that hurt Merab. Oof. Marlon put it on him, man. Marlon really put it on him. He hit him with some big shots. I really don't know how he survived, other than the fact that he's just in that good of shape. But man, this is ridiculous. He's just trying to get, oh my god. And now look, he's still willing to throw back. His legs still aren't under him. You can see that. Oh my god, getting hit with uppercuts and hooks. That's where the danger comes. He's good at dodging the straight shots because he likes to shoot in like this. But you start throwing those uppercuts and hooks, that's where it gets scary and sketchy. But from here, look at how he locks his hands and then starts looking for the takedown. This is how all of his successful takedowns, this is how they come. Even against Peter Yan, this is how they come. It's from these locked hands. He's just gonna try and stay on top of the legs, stay in that half guard, and look to throw. And he was content just being in guard. Now, one thing Henry isn't gonna do, he's not gonna sit here like Marlon Moraes and just let him punch him. Right, he's not gonna lock his legs. This is just a mistake from Marlon. I think Marlon maybe was a little bit tired and that's why he was doing this. But whenever Henry is in this position, he's gonna be opening his legs, looking to kick off on the hips, maybe even give his back just to try and get up, just like wrestlers do. But look at the way Merab was able to come back. Oh my god, he's not moving his head. He's just like, okay, getting hit. Oh my, look at this. This is just madness. Oh, he's wailing on him. You like open your legs. There you go. At least try to avoid it. Oh man, Merab has a pace though, dude. I think Moraes just kind of used a little bit too much energy trying to finish him, and Merab has a disgusting pace, man. You never want to get tired of this guy if you're in the octagon with him. So on round 2, again, Merab's in this kicking range until he gets into the punching range. He actually landed that 1-2 and then looked for this takedown right away. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. This is why you have to counter him with those uppercuts, or you have to throw things up the middle. Otherwise, Merab's just gonna take you down and wear on you constantly. Just smothering pressure. And to be honest, I think that Merab actually might have a better ground game than Henry, so this is definitely a position Henry doesn't want to be in. But he doesn't play that jiu-jitsu game. He doesn't lock his guard. He's constantly trying to get up just like any wrestler would. So I don't think that ground game's gonna have much of a factor to play, but Merab's he's just staying in his guard. It's not like he's trying to pass, mount, or get into any kind of dominant position. He's okay just beating you up from the guard, especially if you're gonna let him, like Marlon Moraes. Man, Marlon's just getting beat up here. Oh, man. His hands are really hard to hold too. Usually some people are able to tie you up from the guard, but Merab's very good about landing his accurate ground and pound shots, man. Yeah, and at this part, I just feel like it's kind of over. Oh, there we go. Looks to try and shoot on him. Can you get him down? Look at him still striking. Jesus. And gets reversed. Stayed there way too long. Sus. Alright, he has his back, and this is where he gets stopped, right? So, again, that's Merab's style, but we saw kind of what he was liking to do, right? What he was good at. He wants to shoot right, like anytime he can, he's gonna try and look at that single. He's gonna try and shoot that double off that right hand. These are the entries that Merab really likes to use. Now, looking at his fight with Ricky Simon. Such wild kicks. This is a long time ago. He's gotten more composed since this, but this is what I mean by he has dangerous hands, because he was actually able to hurt Ricky early in this fight. Boom. Looks for his hands right into the takedowns. Like, he really, when he comes forward, he decides to come forward. There's no like hesitancy with what he likes to do. He's gonna punch and then shoot right away. That's something you could capitalize off of though. Very wild. That was a good elbow into a takedown. Looks to try and take Ricky's back. Boom. There's one mat return. Boom. There's another mat return. And this is a good fight to watch because Ricky Simon is also another wrestler. He's also a guy with good wrestling, except I think he has better grappling than both of them, to be honest. Kicks out the legs. You see how everything he's trying to do is off of him locking these hands? That's why I think it's such an important thing for Henry to not let Merab get his hands locked. Tags Ricky again. Good sharp hands, good boxing combinations. And he's always moving, man. He's always moving. He's always giving you a read. He's always giving you a look. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the reason people get fatigued against him is because he's constantly trying to overload their brain, which is part of the reason why he shoots takedowns and lets them go, but shoots again and then lets them go. He's just trying to create chaos in there, man. That's a good right hand by Ricky. And drops Ricky. So like I said, he's very dangerous with his hands as well. Look at the and pace. Look at the pressure he's trying to just destroy this man. That is a chaotic environment to be in. And then he's looking for these elbows. That's all good. Constantly coming forward. No break, no rest, no stopping the action. Bang. Right hand into that double leg trip. Beautiful. Gets his hands locked, and this is another dangerous position to be in. Now in this fight, Ricky's actually really good about defending this position. Right now he's trying to scrape. He's trying to make sure his back faces the cage, and so he can scrape Merab off of his back and start looking to get this arm to whizzer or overhook on this arm of Merab, the one we can't see. And every time Merab mat returns him, instead of getting a dominant position and not letting him stand up, he just lets you stand up so he can do it again, so you can carry his weight. Trip the legs. Bang. That was a good round. Now, round two. One thing I wish Merab did more was throw some leg kicks. The reason that people move so much against him is because he doesn't throw leg kicks, but that's also because he likes the movement. He likes people moving, getting tired, continuously moving backwards. Everything he does is all about continuous movement, whether it's grappling or striking. I think that Henry Cejudo has a lot more pauses in his action, which might actually mean that Merab has a better gas tank. I guess we'll just have to find out. Looks for the single and looks to trip the leg. So if he can't get a body lock, which is usually what he looks for, he'll use that single and try and trip not only the back leg from behind, but you see him stepping and you see him trying to kick it out from behind. But another thing he'll do, it's in the right place, is when he picks up that leg, he'll actually look to step his right leg in front of this leg and look to shuck him forward. You see this? Except instead of stepping it at the shin, He'll step behind the knee and then force him forward. That way he can get to the back and lock his hands from there. He did that a lot against Peter Yan. That was one of the most successful ways he had of taking his opponents down. Now, one thing about Merab is that because he darts into range so fast, boom, he's open for takedowns as well. Henry, if Ricky Simón could get that takedown, I'm very confident Henry Cejudo can also get that takedown. You see how he's opening his legs, immediately trying to get up, even risking giving his back. That's exactly what he's going to do against Henry. So this is why I don't see this fight going to the ground and staying on the ground very long. We're mainly going to see wrestling exchanges rather than jiu-jitsu transitions, in my opinion. Nice. Look at that awareness by Ricky Simón. Ricky's a good fighter, man. This is a good win for Merab, if he got the win. But it was definitely a good fight. This is about the closest comparison maybe that we could find to a Henry Cejudo that he's fought. I mean, but look at the way he's trying to defend this, and he's going to go for another one. Finally gets the hands broken. I mean, look at these fun transitions. This is probably what we're going to be able to see. Now, I feel like we've talked about Merab's style enough, so instead of going through circles, let's go ahead and watch the finish to this fight, which was kind of fucking crazy if you ask me, because look how this happens. Merab is still punching air, looking to box his way to the fence so he can start his wrestling transitions. Bang, gets on a leg, and he's caught in a guillotine that Ricky takes to the mount. I don't think we're going to see this from Henry Cejudo, but this is just to show you how tough Merab is. This is a tight fucking guillotine, man. He gives the ref the thumbs up. He's constantly kicking the legs. He's really just trying to wait out the time. There's 30 seconds here. If you've ever been in a guillotine like this sucks. Not only can you not breathe, but it's also cutting off the blood to your head, so your body's not getting enough oxygen. You get tired if it isn't the end of the round. But look, his face is turning purple, man. Still giving the ref the thumbs up. I guess he's not out yet. Now, 12 seconds left. This is when he goes out. Ref didn't know. He looked at his hand, he tried to grab it, didn't move, but he just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna let it go. His body's still moving even when he's passed out. Look at him, wakes up, says I'm good. So he ends up losing. They called it a submission victory for Ricky Simón. But that just goes to show you, man, even if Henry does get him in a submission, man, if you're not gonna strangle him and choke him out with a rear naked choke, the guy's not gonna tap at all. However, guys, that is our breakdown for Dvalishvili, his fights with Ricky Simón and Marlon Moraes. So guys, going into Merab Dvalishvili's keys to victory and how he can win this fight against Henry Cejudo, I think one of the most important things he's going to need to be able to do is to create that continuous pressure, right? Henry, he has a good pace, but he does tend to take breaks. He does tend to sometimes just look at his opponent, and that's where he's resting. Now, if Merab could disallow that and look to continue his movements, I think he can actually get Henry down and get him into a stagnant position for him to hold him in, or for him to add up on the damage or points, right? I think a lot of this fight is going to come down. It's only 3 rounds, so a lot of this fight is going to come down to control time, in my opinion. And if he creates that continuous movement, I think that he'll have a good shot at winning this fight. So that's my first key to victory. My second key to victory would be for Merab Dvalishvili to actually kick Henry Cejudo's legs. His stance just gives it to him, right? So go after the quad. Aljamain Sterling also had a lot of success with the leg kicks. They're in the same camp. I don't see why that isn't a hole that they would exploit. I think throwing the leg kicks would actually be very helpful for Merab in winning this fight. And lastly, the third key to victory I have for Merab Dvalishvili is to never give Henry Cejudo the chance to adjust. Just to start off strong, to match Henry's pace, and to only increase the pace. So I think if Merab can do all these 3 things, start early, kick the legs, and have that continuous pressure, the cardio, the machine-like style that Merab is known for having, he could have a very good chance at winning this fight, man. I don't know who wins, man, to be honest, because it's such a close fight, such similar styles. I think that if there's a finish, I can see Henry Cejudo winning more than I could see Merab winning. But if it goes the distance, I mean, how can you win a decision against Merab Dvalishvili when he's gonna be on your leg? He's gonna be looking to connect his hands. He's gonna be looking to take you down. You know what I mean? So let me know who you guys think is gonna win this fight. Comment your picks down below, and be sure that if you haven't seen already, go ahead and watch my other breakdowns for UFC 298. The card's right around the corner, guys. You don't have a lot of time. go ahead and check out those breakdowns and let me know what you guys think. But thank you guys for stopping by Nwadei MMA. Thank you guys for supporting the content, leaving your likes, comments, and subscribing to the channel. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.